Hiya racing game lovers! Thank you for clicking and I hope you're having a great day! It's Catterday and it looks like great racing weather. Grab the controllers because this one's a kart game with all the fun of Mario Kart minus the banana peel and add instead a shark launcher. If that sounds like a good time, you might just like Meow Motors by Art Vostok. Originally, I tried to do this video review while hanging out at the showroom during another job, but the sound came out horribly distorted, and I'm not sure that anyone would have been able to hear much of anything over the background noise of a running air compressor, so instead I re-recorded much of the audio for a more clear definition. This is a channel for cars and games, so sometimes those get jumbled at the same time and even in the same room. Finding this to be a smile-worthy game so far. It's got basic career and quick race options. The game is also available on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and the Nintendo Switch. So really you can play it on almost everything. With the console comes the split-screen mode for easy multiplayer. Otherwise your option is remote Steam Play to operate. One drawback is the lack of online play. You start out engaged in a race scene immediately. A villainous character is among your opponents and the race doesn't go your way. With this setback, you're determined to become competitive and so career mode begins. Each championship round requires acquiring stars from different types of races within these championships. They consist of regular old racing, strike, and drift. Racing is 1 or 2 laps of trying to make it to the front of the pack, only to face being the target of everyone's aggression when they have weapons. Gatling net guns and impulse shockwaves with much more terrors to come. Because when you get to strike mode, it's now about how many opponents you can pick off by calculated weapon attacks or just ram into them until they're obliterated. But mind your own health bar as well, as you'll lose points for dropping to 0. Each takedown amounts to a star, and at this point only taking 3 destructions, but you might as well just aim at anything and fire. Drift mode is fairly self-explanatory for many visiting an automotive channel, but for anyone not as familiar with this particular form of motorsports, it's a controlled loss of traction. I'm not going to claim that my loss of traction is looking all that controlled in this drift mode though. The objective is to rack up points while in a drift and see if you can stack the multiplier while you're at it. Stars are earned by hitting point thresholds, which has been easy to do in easy mode. It could just be me, but some of the cars seem a little better than others when drifting. Quick race mode is right there in the start menu for immediate jumping in to try out some of the game's variety. You'll have access to the first 4 cars and drivers that have to be accumulated through progress in career mode. All weapon power-ups become available but can be switched on and off one by one. Pick a track, select a race type, number of laps, and opponents. You're off. When it comes to the drivers, some are better than others at these special skills. The character you start out with has the bonus of not getting slowed by a failed over-rev start, while others won't get slowed by wheeling outside the road boundaries. Each has an advantage and players unlock characters through winning the later races in each championship. Play a favorite or switch around for strategy because some of the boosts could be quite helpful depending upon the type of race. The characters are befitting of a cartoon series. I wish there were more of the cartoon strip cutscenes, to be honest. There's more character development on the website than in the game, but it is racing, not an RPG after all. So I can't be too critical here. Just encouraging creativity that some players do appreciate the time they spend on a nice cutscene and story. The description of the boss villain reminds me so much of business people in Silicon Valley. How interesting. 2 driver power-ups that are pre-installed, not picked up on the track, are the speed boost and oil slick. As the side meter bar on your charge indicator climbs, you'll have longer periods to expend either of these options. Hitting opponents with weapon attacks and drifts can help refill this bar for more boosting. The first weapon you'll be introduced to is the nut gun style side mounted on your passenger side to gun down foes in your near vicinity with pellets of what looks like acorns maybe? It's sufficient enough to take down other racers with a few hits during strike mode. When utilizing the quick race option, you'll immediately have access to all weapons without finishing that career, so you can switch options on and off per individual event should you prefer to use shark missiles only. Impulse. A close-range shockwave that slows and damages opponents' vehicles. When fully charged, it has 3 pulses instead of 1. To charge a weapon, simply wait a short period after picking it up. A message will flash across your screen, letting you know when it's charged for strategically large attacks. Shark. Lock on a target of a player in front of you with a shark that will clamp onto them, slowing them down and putting a vignette of shark teeth around the player's view screen. Shield. Envelops you in a tiny bubble that will protect you from all incoming hits for a short period, and it automatically repairs your car when used. Ice produces a laser beam of ice to slow down your opponents and pretty much freezes them in place long enough to blow past them. Destroyer, aka mines, can be dropped to leave a trail of destruction. Booster, which is your standard nitrous button. Gum Gum, potentially the most annoying weapon yet. Should players drive through it or get hit with this one, it whiplashes them back to the gum's sticky grounding point. Difficult to aim, but also does the most damage. Hypnosis is fun, not when you see yourself staring off into a wall for no apparent reason. That's how you know you got hit with this one. There's also another one called Shampoo, and as far as I can tell, it's kind of the same thing as an oil slick. Is it just me, or does there appear to be some cartoony custom spider versions of some actual modern day cars? I think I spy a Countach in the cartoon. A Mercedes-Benz Gullwings with no wings, a half a Mini Cooper, potentially a classic Camaro in there. This is making me slightly partial to playing with Leo, aka Countach. It could be somewhat appealing that design cues from favorite cars are in the game. Each unlocks about midway through the championship round, and you can keep track of your progress unlocking different items by checking the star counts in the menu for each competition. All tracks will be available to try out in the quick race mode, but in career the game introduces new tracks with each advancing championship, while at the same time including tracks that you've played through in previous levels. None seem particularly more difficult than another. There doesn't seem to be any progression in handling skills required, which is not a bad thing. Not complaining, it actually allows for more focus on evading weapons or launching them. Most of the turns are fast and sweeping, with a few that will allow you to use the handbrake for drifting. The theme is fairly standard, but the environmental factors do put some extra tasks in to switch up your attention. There can be some dynamite swinging from ropes ahead like a gauntlet, or some shifty lobsters playing Frogger in front of you. It may require evasive maneuvers, otherwise the direct hit's gonna slow you down. Not just temporarily, but it might also reduce the car damage, which results in capping out your acceleration until you snag a repair icon that's marked in a glowing green wrench. Now this is an interesting premise. Can playing video games like Meow Motors or Mario Kart make us feel happier? According to science, true! A study done in 2014 in Germany and the Netherlands handed volunteers controllers after those volunteers had just finished an extremely frustrating math test to see if playing Mario Kart would have any impact on their mood. The experiment was based on mood management theory, the idea that people are compelled to take action to correct or improve negative moods, and then engaging with media such as books, television, or video games is part of that behavioral process. What's unique to video games is that they require players to engage in an activity level that's more likely to distract the player from their existing mood, making it more effective than passive television being watched. Researchers specifically noted whether or not players performed well in their 2 rounds of Mario Kart because satisfaction or winning could play a role, which, indeed it did. Whether or not negative feelings about the math exercise were repaired were based largely on wins or losses. To quote the article, mood repair was predicted by in-game success, or ranking, while enjoyment is mainly driven by need satisfaction, or autonomy and competence, the study concluded. It's safe to say that you might just get a little happiness and feeling of satisfaction out of Meow Motors after less than a good day. Watching your kitty wave to the contestants they just passed is fairly satisfying and cute. You can find that study down in the description below. The game has many similarities to Mario Kart and other titles with combat racing. The game would not take long to complete in career mode and easy mode. Others may take a few extra hours, and if easy is getting too boring, you can switch up to different modes in the menu. At least all cars and players are easily accessible with little effort. For that reason, it makes a good option for younger ages. That could be considered a drawback for average adult players who were hoping for more from the game. It's solid, plays well with no glitches in my several hours of playing so far on 2 different computers. It's actually a perfect game to play on short bursts like work breaks. If one is allowed to do that, of course. Races that only consist of a couple laps can be finished in a few minutes, but it can also be run up to 6 laps for something closer to 10 minutes of furry fury. It can be found over on Steam, reasonably priced game for what it is. If a Mario Kart clone with cats is what you're looking for, then you're gonna love this. It's still devoid on my hard drive for a fun kart racer, and that's good enough. Happiness is only a few clicks away. If you're looking for games to play, there's more games on my review channel along with the tidbits dropped on science periodically. It's basically a bunch of car and game stuff if you're into that. Heard any cool science info lately? Sharing is caring and science is fun, so drop some links in the comments for your interesting finds. Take care, y'all. Bye-bye!